Hi, Marta. What's on the fire?
You will be when Pat sees you.
That's right. I got on my asbestos. Oh, hello.
What kept you, Father Time?
I got delayed.
You picked a swell night for it. Listen, Marta, why don't you come along with us?
Sure.
If Phil stood you up again.
Oh, no, thanks. I'll stay and talk to Dad.
Don't stay on my account.
No, it's all right. I'll wait a little while longer.
All right. Come on, Glamour boy.
Have fun.
Who is this dope that's standing you up? Not the Bill McCann you've been writing about.
He isn't a dope. He forgets. I didn't think he would tonight, though.
Hey, Bill, your set's humming.
Thanks. Hey, Marta, Bill will be right here. He just stopped at the physics lab.
I only hope he doesn't get tangled up in something again.
What do you say I go get him? I haven't been in that lab in years. Besides, I want to meet this slow-motion Romeo.
Oh, thanks, Dad. Be nice to him, and please ask him to hurry.
I'll be right back with him, dead or alive.
Thank you.
Hard at it. You rig up that breadboard yourself?
Oh, hello. I don't know where he is.
Who? Look, son, I know you're busy, but...
If you're looking for Dr. Dybel, I don't know where he is.
I'm looking for Bill McCann.
What? What?
Bill McCann.
Me?
You know what time it is?
No, you can find out downstairs or someplace. I've got to get this antenna back up.
Television, huh?
Yeah, experimenting with ultra-high frequency and color. Trying to brighten the picture. I thought aluminum might help.
In what way?
I made this antenna of aluminum. I call it a McCann array. If I'd had silver, it'd be even better.
Why don't you silver plate it?
Can I?
Sure. Skin effect's all you use.
I know that. I mean, how can I do it tonight?
Do they have those plating tanks in the chem lab?
Uh-huh.
Bring your what-you-call-it and come on.
I don't believe I know you, do I?
I'm one of the alumni.
Oh.
Yes, this is the place. Been a good many years.
Look, I don't want to take up your time.
Oh, that's all right. You take it apart, huh? I like to fiddle with things like this.
So do I. Guess I'm just curious.
Don't apologize for curiosity, my boy. That's how the world progresses. Every workroom, I claim, is a curiosity shop.
A curiosity shop?
Yep. Whether it's a college lab like this, or one of the big research centers, or just an attic like Thomas Edison's, or Charles Martin Hall's woodshed, or your own cellar. Any place where somebody is trying to find out something new.
That's what I want to do when I get out of school. Research.
What line?
Well, I like metals.
Good field, especially aluminum.
Well, I like working with aluminum. You can do so many things with it. But that's the one thing against it from my standpoint.
Why, for Pete's sake?
Well, hadn't most of the research already been done?
Oh, my boy, the surface has hardly been scratched. There are two kinds of research. To crack the crust of nature, to find out something no one ever knew before. Something that will change the whole concept of life. That's one kind. kind Charles Martin Hall did with aluminum.
That's what I mean.
No, wait a minute. That's basic research. Then there's applied research, where you take the new raw material and do things with it to make it more and more useful for more people. Like, for example, when young Hall in his woodshed discovered his electrolytic process for making aluminum. That was something new brought into the world. But wonderful as that was, it turned out to be little more than a hunting license.
Hunting license?
Yes. He soon found out his 99% pure aluminum wouldn't go very far. It was too pure. In other words, too soft for many purposes and not pure enough for others. That's where applied research stepped in.
Of course, you don't get the same thrill out of that kind.
That shows you've never done any. I know where I'd like to take you. To the place where I started years ago. An example of individual initiative at its best. Through the wrought aluminum gates, up to the greatest aluminum research center in the world, if I do say so. To realize its importance, you want to remember that the old metals have been used for 5,000 years. Aluminum for less than 100. Aluminum has had to cram into the last century all the advancements made in these other metals the past 50 centuries. You'll find there, more than any other place, the men who worked most of these miracles. They made aluminum strong by alloying it with small amounts of other metals. Before the present laboratories were built, the research department had its curiosity shop in the corner of the New Kensington Works. One day, some 25 years ago, Dr. Frary was inspecting some corrosion tests.
You can see, Dr. Frary, while different chemicals do react in different ways, the nearer pure the aluminum, the less effect any of them have.
What's the highest purity we have now?
99 and 74 and only 1 pig of that so far.
Hello, Doc. You got time to see a crazy man?
Crazy man?
Me.
Oh, come in, Mr. Hoops.
I've been trying to sell the management on a way to make pure aluminum. They say my idea is too fantastic. I thought maybe if you'd listen to it.
Glad to. Nobody's found one yet.
My idea is make a refining cell.
Oh, no, that's been tried time and again.
Not my way. I do the whole thing at high temperatures, around 1800 Fahrenheit, in 3 layers. Molten aluminum alloy on the bottom, a layer of molten pure aluminum on the top, and a layer of molten bath in between. Electric current flowing from the alloy up through the bath to the aluminum will dissolve pure aluminum from the alloy and deposit it in the top layer.
Now, how are you going to separate the layers?
Well, my idea is to float one liquid on another.
How's that?
Well, pure aluminum is lighter than most of its alloys. Find a molten bath light enough to float on the liquid alloy, like oil floats on water. And heavy enough that pure aluminum will float on top of the bath.
Maybe that isn't so fantastic. J.D., could you measure the specific gravities of the materials that we need? You know what we want. Maybe add some heavy barium fluoride to cryolite for the bath.
Yes, sir.
But we haven't the money for the equipment.
Oh, we can build our own refining pot. Now, where do we have enough direct current?
Not nearer than Baden. Would you go that far with me?
Give me a timetable for Baden, North Carolina. Maybe I'm crazy, too.
Down in the old Baden reduction works in the North Carolina mountains, Hoops and Frary would go out of circulation for days at a time. Then, late one night...
Seems to be working the best yet.
If this works, why can't we reduce clay with carbon in an electric furnace? Refine it like this and obsolete the Hall process altogether.
If it works. Look at that.
Bright, isn't it, Doc?
Mr. Hoops, it appears Jerusalem has arrived.
Frary was right. Purity had arrived. A purity of 99 and 99/100%, opening up a whole new field. But they never did find a way of making aluminum cheaply enough to compete with the Hall process, at least not yet. Another time, 2 chemists were trying various electrolytes to give aluminum a thicker oxide coating, still more protective.
That looks like a good service, Fulton. I'll date it. I'll get the notebook. JD, look here. See how the ink soaks in? Never did that before. Our new coating is absorbent. Wait a minute. Here, let's try this red ink.
It works. We can dye it.
Fulton, we've got colored aluminum.
And that's what they had. Later on, a better oxide coating was developed by others, a coating that could also be dyed. Then our men improved on it.
That's quite a story.
Oh, that's only part of one chapter. There was a big demand for this new thick coating in its natural state. Soft, attractive, silvery luster. You see it in architecture today. Storefronts, windows, escalators, elevators. But one of the first orders was for 500 cafeteria trays.
Some order.
Some headache. They began coming right back.
What's the matter? Take a look.
What are the brown rings?
Coffee stains. Wherever a cup was set.
The coffee must be acting like a dye.
You got a sample piece?
There's one covering that flask. Why?
We'll soon see.
Hey, that's my coffee.
That's all right. And now what? Part of it didn't take.
What? That's the part that was over the flask. The hot water does something that seals the coating. It won't stain after that.
You've hit it. Bart, you're wonderful.
Oh, no. Any genius could have done the same.
Well, that's the way it goes. Sometimes you work for years on a problem. And sometimes you find the answer between the ticks of a clock.
You must admit, though, that was mostly luck, having that piece over the hot water.
Call it luck one way. But don't forget, Bill, those men were ready. That's why we say to any young person interested in research, fine. Remember, your most important tool is your mind. Prepare it. That's what you're in school for. Fill it with all the information you can, but more important, train it to think, to never stop thinking. Then when a lucky break comes, the alert, trained mind is ready to grab it and do something about it. You see?
Yes, sir, I get it.
There are hundreds of such stories. They can start any place. One started back in 1926 down by the Gulf. Some men from the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics were inspecting a piece of an airplane exposed to the salt spray.
You see how salt water corrodes it if it isn't kept painted?
Quite a job painting whole planes all the time, isn't it?
But you have to do it if you use all-metal aircraft around salt water.
Or else find some other kind of protection.
Of course, our fellows have been working on this problem for some time.
When you get those new samples ready, I'm going to try something else.
What?
I'm not sure yet. We've got good paint protection now, but I have a feeling.
Like the Bureau of Standards idea you were telling me about? Spraying the metal with pure aluminum?
No, that leaves a rough surface. It would have to be polished. It just wouldn't be commercially practical with whole planes. But we'll see.
Like I tell you, in this business, you never know when an idea is going to hit you. Ed says this one hit him one morning while he was shaving. Said his thoughts ran something like this.
Aluminum tube. Aluminum sheet. Around a Dural ingot.
He could hardly wait to get down to the lab to roll an ingot of duralumin cast between sheets of pure aluminum. The pure aluminum stuck to the ingot, forming a thin coating on both sides of the sheet. The core gave the strength, and the pure aluminum coating protection against corrosion. Samples were hung in a salt spray cabinet. After months of accelerated exposure, they were taken out, washed, and inspected.
You see? There's no sign of attack.
Well, how about the sheared edges, where the dural core is exposed?
Well, those edges were trimmed on purpose, and there's no hint of corrosion in the core.
That's funny.
No. The aluminum coating gives electrolytic protection wherever the alloy is exposed. Anyway, that's it, Major.
Well, what are you going to call it? Aluminum covered?
Or better yet, for short, we call it Al-clad.
Well, that was the start. Of course, it still had to get by production.
How do you mean?
It's all very well for research to think up a new idea, but it still has to go to the men in the mill who have to produce it commercially at a cost before it can be a success. So the idea of the aluminum-covered ingot was taken down to one of the plants. Satisfied?
I am, Dan. What are you? You think the mill can roll it on a production basis?
Sure we can. We've done tougher ones than that.
And they did. You should see it rolling in production now. Al-clad sheet turned out to be one of the most important research developments. Today, there's a long line of Al-clad products. Over and above, the marvelous contribution it has made to American aviation.
Oh, aluminum isn't just one metal, is it? Why, it's something you can make into almost any sort of metal you want.
Just about. But applied research at Alcoa isn't all developing new characteristics. Part of it is taking already known properties and finding new uses. Then you go out and show some manufacturer how you can do something better with aluminum. Like the time we called on some bus engineers.
About those new Greyhound buses.
I'm still skeptical.
Aluminum costs too much.
Cost more by the pound, sure. But if the bus costs less in the long run,
Will it?
let's show them.
These are the plans of the new bus you gave us to study. At each of these points, we have specific recommendations.
You certainly covered thoroughly.
We try to. This is the ventilating duct and lighting trough.
Yeah?
In detail, you have a 2-inch channel here, a 5-inch angle here, an angle brace, and a larger form channel, 4 pieces, riveted or screwed together. With aluminum, this whole part would come to you extruded all in one piece. In one piece? Well, sir, we went right on down through those blueprints, from bumper to bumper and from roof to oil pan. Structural framework, engine parts, seats, racks, trimming, and of course the side panels. We showed them where one or another aluminum alloy would do a better job. Then we wound up with the old clincher. And do you know how much you'd save in overall weight?
Oh, I don't know. Some, I suppose.
On the same capacity bus, you can save 1,900 and some pounds.
How much?
Almost a ton less weight to carry around. You know what that means. In coal trucks, for instance, an aluminum body will carry an extra ton each trip and pay for itself in 9 months.
I think they've got something.
And that's how they bought it?
Well, not all at once. But we showed them what we could do, and you should see how those buses are being turned out today. It's quite a sight. Assembly line king size, they call it in the motor industry, producing 1,500 buses at a clip. That's 9 million pounds of aluminum. A new comfort and convenience in mass transportation because of the Greyhound that's born of aluminum. I wonder if you know what that really means, especially to small towns. There are 48,000 small towns and communities, but the bus is the only means of public transportation they have. There's one of them now.
Yep.
Look at those beautiful polished sides.
Golly, I'd think you'd feel awfully proud of them, knowing how much you had to do with them. I know I would.
Just between ourselves, Bill, I do get a kick out of it every time I see one. But I didn't mean to make a speech. Our antenna ought to be plated by this time. Yep, looks pretty good.
You know, I've enjoyed every word of this.
When I get talking shop, I guess I don't know when to stop.
Well, don't stop. This is the most fun I've had in I don't know when.
You know something, Bill? I'm having fun, too. How does this thing go together now?
I'll do it. Guess this seems mighty small after the big things you're used to working on.
Look, son, in true research, there are no little things. Something may help only a comparatively few people. But if it really helps them, you can bet it isn't little to them. Reminds me of Sam, one of the boys in the plant. He was working in his cellar one Saturday afternoon when the shop superintendent dropped in.
Anybody home? Down here. Come on down. Oh, hello, Mac.
Hello, Sam. Dropped around to see how the missus was and if there's anything I could do.
Why, thanks, no. She's much better.
That's fine, fine. Is this your aluminum ladder you were telling me about?
Yeah. I'm glad you came. I'd like to ask you something about it. I started fastening the rungs in with long bolts, but the rungs are liable to turn under you. I was wondering about welding them.
Let's see. Sure, you could weld them. But what would you think about rolling them in? All you'd need is a tube expander and your brace. Cut the outside holes the size of the rungs, and then roll them in like we do condenser tubes.
Well, thanks, Mac. That's just the ticket.
You know, I think you've got something here, Sam. Say, when you get it ready, take it over to the development fellows. They'll help you in any way they can.
You think they would?
Oh, sure, why not? We do it for our customers, why not for one of our own folks? You know, there ought to be a real market for aluminum ladders. You'll have a little business of your own here before you know it.
Say, that's something to think about. Let's go upstairs and tell Mary. It'll do her more good than the medicine.
You'll be interested to know that Sam did start his own little business in aluminum ladders and is making a good go of it.
Our ladder in the attic's aluminum.
Might be one of Sam's. A lot of them being made now, all kinds.
It was nice to be able to help him that way.
Yes, it's something when a company can be big and human at the same time. Small businesses all over this country will tell you, just like Sam, how we helped them to get started. Still helping them.
Must be a great place to work.
It is a great outfit. More than all the mines, the plants, and the machines, the people who work there. In 60-odd years, they've built up a sum total of experience in aluminum you just can't touch anywhere else.
Well, that's something, you know it?
A lot of people may not know it, but aluminum is one metal that actually came down in price during the war.
It did? How could it?
Unceasing research. Research that goes back to the ore in the ground and the purification of that ore. Searching for ways to make it better and cheaper. Why, if you dropped in at the research laboratories right today, you might very likely see Doc Prairie and some of his men still working on pure aluminum.
But I thought they found that 25 years ago.
They found a way to make it then, and they've made a number of improvements since. They are turning out 99.99 aluminum right along now. But they're still trying to make it cheaper. And just think what plentiful high-purity aluminum will mean in realms of electricity and chemistry.
There, I already had them masked up.
I haven't been up here since the night we hung out the senior dummy. I darn near burnt down the building that night.
Were you the one? I've heard about that. I can't recall the name.
You don't need to try. Come on, if you got that fixed, let's go down and see how it works.
All right. I'll change the connections and we'll test it.
Check. Hello. Last you got a new piano.
Yeah, they had it in here studying a problem in acoustics.
The old lunker we used to have. Took half the football squad to move it.
A couple of girls brought that one in.
A couple of girls.
Yeah, they borrowed it.
Just as I thought. An aluminum plate.
Aluminum? In the piano?
Yes. Isn't that nice? That's one of my pets. Because that's a research job. The boy sat down and figured out just like it was a problem in math. You see, one of our salesmen had been called into a big piano factory.
You'll give us the figure on the pedal in a few days?
Be glad to. By the way, while we're at it, there's something else we'd like to do some figuring on, too.
What's that? The plate? Are you kidding? Do you know how much string load a piano plate has to carry?
I think so. A pull of around 18 tons, isn't it?
That's right. Do you know about tonal quality? Machinability?
If it was only half the weight and one man could handle it instead of two, that would be a help, wouldn't it?
Think you can make one like that?
All I'm saying is we'd like to figure on it. Of course, we'd need your help. First, I'd borrow one of your patterns.
I think you're crazy, but we'll go see the chief.
Well, he brought in a pattern of the old-style piano plate. Our engineers redesigned it to fit aluminum, cutting down metal where it wasn't needed, adding reinforcement where it was. They would cast up a sample, paint it with a brittle test lacquer, and string it.
Why the lacquer?
When the strings were tightened, they'd crack the lacquer. By reading the cracks, they could tell the direction and the amount of stress and shift the metal to balance it.
I see.
To make a long story short, that produced the aluminum plate that has revolutionized piano making. Now, one man handles it easily. And that's why you can have a piano like this today. 100 pounds lighter, One a housewife can move around by herself, almost with one hand. Listen to its tone. I could tell you stories like that from here to breakfast. And yet, I tell you, the surface has hardly been scratched. Aluminum's possibilities are unlimited, and so is its supply. And now, when some of the other metals are running shy, the world has enough aluminum ore in sight to last us for centuries to come. It's all around us. There's aluminum in the glass of that Coke bottle, but not enough to pay to try to get it out.
I know now what I want to do. I'd give an arm to get into a lab like yours.
Save your arm, son. You may need it. At least I can get you an interview. We're always on the lookout for likely young people. Never know when another Charles Martin Hall is liable to come along with something brand new like, well, maybe develop alloys with double the strength of those we now have. What's that?
We're picking up music. Now we'll try the picture.
I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
Oh, my gosh.
Marta!
This is the third time I've been here looking for you.
Well, we were in the chem lab on the roof. Oh, the dance.
The dance is about over.
You mean it's too late?
You're a fine one to send after him.
Huh? Oh, well, we got busy on this television, and he's got a great idea here, Kitten.
You two know each other?
Well, didn't he even tell you? Oh, Dad.
Your dad? Oh.
I'm sorry.
So am I, honey.
And after we'd planned on having our last dance in college together. What are you doing?
I think that's the music we're picking up now. Get the lights. That's it. And hey, how's that for detail and color?
It's the best television image I ever saw.
And now, the last dance.
Didn't I tell you he had some idea?
It's the last dance, Marta. Will you still have it with me? Sorry our last dance turned out like this.
I'm not. I'm proud. Dad likes you, too. I can tell.
You offered me a job, a chance at one, I mean. I'm crazy to try it. I feel that I'd be doing something really worthwhile. And just think, when atomic power is harnessed for industry, there'll surely be a chance for more aluminum. What do you think?
I think you're just like Dad. Mother always said research men are crazy.